I went up to a friend of mine's house. He had an old Stella guitar, and we just kind of started from there, just going around bugging everybody in the neighborhood that would know, would know another chord that we didn't know, or know a guitar run that we didn't know. And somebody showed up with a mandolin one day, and I said, I need to learn some of that. I started fooling with it. And then somebody showed up with a fiddle one day, so I said, well, I got to give that a shot. So I come to find out the fingering was the same, and I could play a little bit on it. And this car pulled up. I guess it stopped to fill up with some gas or something. There was 2 men and 2 women in it. One of the women said, can y'all play something? And Russell just piped up and said, you got any money? And she reached in her purse and pulled out 4 dimes. She gave me 2 and him 2. So the first money I ever made playing was 20 cents. I met Toy Caldwell in a dressing room down at Moore Memorial Auditorium in Nashville. And I walked in her dressing room and I said, somebody told me you SOBs used to go to Jenkins Junior High School. And Toy looked around like that and knew I was saying it in jest and everything. I walked out of that dressing room. I consider myself a friend of Toy Caldwell's. We traveled with Tucker so much back in the old days, back in the day, if you will. We traveled together so much. It was just a day in, day out, week in, week out thing. We're just on tour everywhere, all over the place. Skynyrd is one of the purest rock and roll bands in the world. Ronnie was my old buddy, man. I mean, he was like, he was just good old down-to-earth redneck boy, and we were in St. Louis when that plane went down. And we're 30 minutes or so from going on stage, and so we got a sold-out house, and I'm happy, and I'm in a dressing room warming up, and somebody walked in and said, my sister just called from Nashville, and they said Lynyrd Skynyrd's plane went down there all dead. I said, no, don't come in here telling me that. I didn't believe it. I did not believe it. You know how rumors go around. So I went downstairs. There's a DJ friend of mine there from a station called Casey. His name was Shelley Grafman. And I said, Shelley, I just heard a horrible rumor, and I'd like to know if it's true. I knew he could find out in the radio station. I said, somebody told me that some Skynyrd guy's plane had gone down. I never saw him again that night. I guess he just got on with the story. And we went on stage that night, knowing that some of our friends had been killed, but we didn't know who it was. I didn't find out till early the next morning who had been killed. I knew there were some fatalities, and I knew there were some, some people that had been badly hurt, but we didn't know who. And I remember we started on stage that night, and Tommy Crane was playing me. He said, Charlie, I don't know what to do. We're just going to go on stage and play. Because if that had been us, we wouldn't want them going to show over us, and they don't want us going to show over them. So I don't know how long we played that night. We just went on stage.
Great. The first record we cut together was Devil Went Down to Georgia. Right away I knew it was strong when I heard it in the studio. In fact, I remember there's a good anecdote about that. I finished the record and I listened to the mix. I said, Charlie, this is really great. I said, however, there's this guy, Gordon McClendon. He's got a lot of radio stations in the South, and he is not going to play a record that has the word son of a bitch in it. He's just not going to do it. I said, would you go back out there and just sing that one line again as son of a gun? Charlie said, yeah, you're right, I better do that. And we went out and he sang an alternate version. I done told you once, you son of a gun, I'm the best it's ever been. And I made a separate mix of that little section and stuck it on the back end of the reel. And I went off to Melbourne to do the Little River Band. I get this call in the middle of the night from the head of A&R. Boylan, you gotta get back here. We gotta recut Devil Went Down to Georgia. It's popping, it's going all over the place. It's gonna be a huge hit, but these southern stations won't play that line. I said, Lenny, go. It's all done. I took care of it ahead of time. They made a special single for radio, and the rest, as they say, is history.
Again, I done told you once, you son of a bitch, I'm the best there's ever been. He played Fire on the Mountain, Run, Boys, Run. Devil's in the house of the rising sun. The chicken in the bread pan, picking out dough. Granny, where you don't bite, no child, no.
I decided to hang up my bass for a minute or two, and there's one guy who made me just get it down and go back to playing, and that was Charlie Daniels. And we had a good ride. I enjoyed that.
I came to town under the auspices of a guy by the name of Bob Johnston, who was the head of Columbia Records at the time that I came to town. And he would use me on a session when he could. But some of the sessions I fit good on. Bob Dylan came to town, Leonard Cohen, Al Cooper, some people like that worked out pretty well. And I played with Marty Robbins and Flat and Scruggs, and I asked Bob Johnson, I was an admirer of Bob Dylan, I said, can you put me on one Dylan session, please? Just so I can always say I've been on a Dylan session. So he had me on the afternoon session, and I went in and played. When I got finished, I started packing my instrument up, getting ready to leave, and he said, where's Charlie going? Bob Johnson said, he's leaving, I got another guitar player. He said, I don't want another guitar player, I want him. And I'll never forget that, those words that he said that meant so much to my career and my life.